It's 3:15. It's BBC Radio Northampton, and a very good afternoon from us. Now, quite often my next guest reacts to this.
The Afternoon Show Book Club on BBC Radio Northampton.
And in due course, we may well be able to ask Anthony Stepniak what he thinks about noughts and crosses, given that it's, of course, a text that the book club from BBC Radio Northampton with Library Plus is currently reviewing. But not today. That's not what we're here to talk about. Instead, it's a musical partnership which formed at the University of Northampton. Anthony Stepniak is a PhD student. Graduate Matt Jarman has been working with Anthony for 2 years to work on something called Hybrid Child. Anthony's in the studio with me this afternoon. Matt can't be with him, but you will hear from Matt in due course. Anthony, welcome back into the studio.
Very good to be here.
I said that you are a PhD student. It's not quite that. I mean, you're starting to get into the realms of a career through this.
Yeah, definitely. I think the official title would be early career academic. So not quite lecturing yet, but I'm doing some assistant lecturing, some research projects. So yeah, getting my foot in the door.
So strictly speaking, you're still a student then? You're still learning?
Yes, I think it's both. That's the great thing. You can be both. You can have the privileges of the student and the privileges of the staff and not have to fit to either.
I didn't know you were a musician, but then again, I suppose I wouldn't have asked you that question. Where do your musical credentials come from?
Well, music-wise, I'd say lyric writing is my kind of idea. I never saw them as being put to music. I mean, in terms of playing instruments, etc., I'm not really that way inclined. That's more Matt's side of things. But I had always wrote for many years things that I assume would be poetry, and Matt and me kind of become friends over doing the undergrad and postgrad at Northampton, and he said to me one day, because Matt's kind of very talented multi-instrumentalist, and he said to me, what I really struggle with is lyrics. I can come up with melodies and I really struggle with lyrics to set off writing music to. And I said, well, I have wrote a few different things, and we kind of had a bit of a session where we exchanged some lyrics, and he said, well, I'll take this one and see what we can do. And that has now turned into the first of what is one of the 12 songs.
Now, this collaboration, a dozen songs, they are all interconnected. They all deal with some pretty solid and pretty challenging subjects.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where the academic interest that bonded us kind of has come through in the music, which is the case that the main thing we're about is looking at things such as identity, gender identity, and especially ideas that are usually only ever dealt with in a kind of highly academic classroom. And what we're interested in doing is finding new mediums to use to make these quite academic topics more accessible, and sound has been one of them, performance poetry, etc.
All right, so you make the distinction in that case because you talk not so much about music as sound. That calls on different talents, different skills and so on.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like I say, musically, Matt's definitely brought his academic training and sort of natural talent in music and his academic interest in gender studies, etc. And I've brought my research area into it, which is kind of representation, performance, and used it to be creative in a different way.
Why are you interested particularly in those subject areas if you are going to use them as the basis of performance art, for want of a better term?
I think I've always been very interested in gender representation and identity. I think personally that's something that's very close to me. I'm very interested in gender roles and unorthodox representations of gender, and I think that is now something that is beginning to get more mainstream coverage. It's something that I always, at the book club try and talk about. It's something I bring into my academic study, and it's something that I think can be discussed in a more accessible way, in a more kind of fun way, a performative way, because they're quite, some of the themes are quite dark. It's serious stuff, people are.
Some of those subjects are actually taboo. So are you trying to
absolutely
bring them out into the light through a different mechanism than hard academic discussion?
Absolutely, and I think the first and not necessarily the only way that Hybrid Child wants to do that, but definitely the first way is through music, is through performance.
Hybrid Child, is that the name? It's a 12-song cycle. Is it going to become an album? If so, is Hybrid Child the name of that, or is Hybrid Child you and Matt together?
So Hybrid Child is both our collaboration name. We are Hybrid Child, and we have got an album. It is an album of 12 original tracks, and it is also self-titled. The first album is simply Hybrid Child, and we are Hybrid Child. And the name comes from the idea that we both bring very different things to the table on different levels, and in a lot of ways what we've produced, therefore, is this kind of child of this hybridity that we bring, and we like that.
How much has the university played within this? Or has it just provided the context, the meeting place, the framework for what you've brought up together?
So at the beginning, we were very secretive about what we were doing because we were kind of control freaks, and we wanted to make this something away from the kind of university. But gradually, more and more staff, etc., colleagues have got to know about it, and now we wanted to have something. We didn't want to come out and say this is what we're doing. We want to say this is what we've done. And this is what we've got. We've now got a music video, we've got the 12 tracks, we're doing some guest lectures at Northampton, and that's because when we said we wanted to press the button, we wanted to have something to show.
Where do you see this as going in the longer term? It's an academic piece of work that you're doing, and I don't mean as students, but you are dealing with subjects from an academic perspective and putting them out there in a entertainment, performance context. What next for you now that you've got this album? What do you want it to do?
Well, we never rule out the idea that you should be able to listen to the tracks and not necessarily be very informed or want to engage in those themes, and they should be interesting, catchy, and something you can listen to. But if you are informed, it should be a way at university level that especially undergraduate students can engage with things that maybe are very highly sort of ivory tower and make them accessible, but to the public as well.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because you've just suddenly talked about students, and I was saying, is this just in that case for a student-aged audience, or is it for anyone?
Not at all. It's for anyone. Hopefully, which we'll start to get feedback on, I hope, is that Hybrid Child has made itself accessible to a multitude of audiences.
All right, let's have a listen to part of one of the 12 songs making up the album. Set up Who Is She for me.
So Who Is She deals with, as all the tracks do, not any people in particular, but more gender stereotypes, cultural norms, and this is looking at kind of getting into our literature inspiration from us. We adopt personas, and this is definitely from the persona of a sort of archetypal kind of gothic heroine, hysterical woman figure that has functioned for many years, and we have sort of personified that, and this is what Who Is She is.
All right, Hybrid Child, who is she?
Who is she? And what can she be? She appears from the sea, singing her song to me. She is not what she seems. Her eyes gleam, her locket it glows as she sings. Her power it grows as she sings. Her power it grows. From the sea, singing her song to me. She is not what she seems. Her eyes gleam, her locket it glows as she sings. Her power it grows as she sings. Her power it grows.
So that's Hybrid Child, and part of one of the 12 songs making up that collaboration. It's the collaboration of Matt Jarman and Anthony Stepniak. Anthony's in the studio with me this afternoon. Listening to that, it's got elements of progressive rock about it.
Yep.
It's got elements of the local band, the Enid, in it.
Okay.
It's got elements of what sounded to me like early Tudor English music with the drone at the front of it. I mean, you've really done your homework on this.
I think however experimental I was able to be with lyrics, I think Matt's really excelled himself yourself with the musical inspirations, and it's very much interdisciplinary in terms of genre.
It's an entertaining listen as a piece of music. I mean, you want to get people to delve into the lyrics, though. I mean, you want them to work a bit, don't you?
I think it lends itself to either. If you want to work and investigate what the deeper meanings are, that's fantastic. But also the track should be, brilliant bits of music that you could listen to that are catchy. And
this has been professionally recorded. It's been professionally filmed already. So it is a piece of work. It's not an ongoing piece of work in its own right. Now that you have got the product, you've mentioned that you're going to be lecturing with it. Now, you're going to start doing that at the University of Northampton. How is that lecture process going to complement what is, in a sense, for some people, an album of music?
So we're hoping to be able to teach some performance and gender studies theory through Hybrid Child, through our visual media, our music, and also some of the interviews that we've done. And that's always been one of the aims, is to use it as a teaching tool, because there was nothing out there that made it more accessible, so we created our own.
That's pretty darn good going. I mean, it's a clever use of a medium which most people will react to in some way and on some emotional level, which is the music side of things. But if you can get people to hook into the lyrics as well, understand what you're getting at, and maybe join in what could be a wider debate, where do you see this ultimately going? Is there going to be a further collaboration with Hybrid Child? Are you going to work on other subjects, or are you going to extend this so maybe it becomes a box set?
Well, yeah, I mean, at the moment we're looking at, after our guest appearance at Northampton lecturing, we're hoping on engaging on a seminar series across other universities, and obviously there will be more live performances. So they're the two main threads. There's the more commercial live music performances, and then academically there's the sort of hopeful ability which we're in the process of booking, which is a seminar series to teach through Hybrid Child.
And is this going to be available to the general public? I mean, you're going to go and do your lecturing. That's going to be clearly a closed thing, but are you going to have a locked-off camera standing by? Are you going to put it onto YouTube? Are you going to stream it so that people can, almost from arm's reach, join in with that debate?
That would be ideal. I think, though, we would need to obviously talk to various institutions we're appearing at, but that would be the plan. I mean, in terms of the more commercial side, our event that we've got going on tomorrow at the University of Northampton at Madewell Hall is open to the public. It's not just a turn-up event, though. You will have to contact us if you go onto our website, www.hybridchild.co.uk, and you go onto the contact page and send us a message. We can put you on the list, and you are more than welcome to attend. There will be a live, and that's going to be that's our first ever live performance. So
no pressure at all.
No pressure at all. It's our live performance of 8 of our 12 songs, and also a sit-down Q&A with Associate Professor in Popular Music Nathan Wiseman-Trouse.
And this all fits into a Graduate Career Opportunities Week, which is being called Futures Week.
Subject Futures Week, yeah, at Avenue
Futures.
Campus, yeah.
That's quite something as well. If you are going to be lecturers, musicians, learners, studiers, bookworms, whatever it might be, are you ever conscious of being nailed down and defined as something? Because if so, Anthony, I think people are going to have to rethink about what they define you as being.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I think maybe for me, I find it a little bit ironic that I'm still there. So I don't know if I can really tell students about Subject Futures Week unless your career is still at your institution. But definitely Matt-wise, as obviously Matt's progressing a career separate from kind of academia at the moment as well, so he can talk about that maybe, but and how that feeds in. But yeah, it's hopefully Hybrid represents something you can do and you can take on with your studies and turn into something professional.
Well, good luck with the lecturing, good luck with the live performance tomorrow. If people do want to come along, I mean, you can still get tickets to go along.
That's right.
To go along, it's at the Avenue campus for the University of Northampton, and you can go and have a look at the university website for all the details of that. What about the album? Have you got plans to put it out there? Can people get hold of a copy of the album?
So the album should be out ASAP. I believe it's either out now or will be out very soon. Downloadable on Spotify and iTunes. For a short time only, you can listen to the tracks on our website. They're not downloadable, but after that they will be. They are available on iTunes.
Fascinating project to look at academic argument, academic debate, but doing it through the medium of entertainment. 12 songs. The result of 2 years' worth of work from PhD student and early career academic Anthony Stepniak with Matt Jarman, both of them working at the University of Northampton, using that as the medium or as the production area for their work. Hybrid Child is the result, a new musical partnership. You can find out more if you want to go along. Get your tickets for the live performance at the Avenue campus. What time of day are you going to be performing?
It's doors at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening.
Good luck. Have a great time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.